Morning chat, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, Anna's gonna give you your affirmation of the video.
Affirmation of the video.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you get them every video now.
Every video you get one affirmation from Ann.
Delulu is the Salulu.
Kind of like a trust in yourself thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think you can do it and make it happen,
Then no one will.
yeah, then why would it happen? So it's got to start with yourself.
Affirmation by Ann. All right, so today is secondary SPD day. I just finished up my squats, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of today's video is going to be talking about deadlift. We're going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes I think beginner powerlifters make with their deadlift, especially with sumo deadlift. But first, I'm going to finish up my bench workout, get re-warmed up for deads, and then we're going to be talking in the middle of our pause deadlift workout for the day. And it's kind of perfect that we're doing pause deads today because pause deadlifts really punish you if you don't have a good starting position. Yeah, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna breeze through this bench press workout and then we're gonna get right to the point of the video.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
All right, so the main purpose of this video is to talk about the starting position on deadlift and what I believe is one of the worst mistakes you can make, especially if you're trying to learn sumo deadlift. Really focusing on making sure that you don't do this will make sure that you make the progress that you're looking for. So when we're talking about the starting position and like kind of sacrificing speed with this, that's one thing that you really never want to do. With deadlift people that are like kind of new to sumo deadlifting, you kind of see them like want to use as much of their legs as they can, so they try to cram their hips into the bar as aggressively as they do. That being said, if you cram your hips way too low, it's going to be like kind of like you're squatting the weight up, and that's a very inefficient way to move over the barbell. You want to treat the deadlift like a hinge, not like a squat. I know you want to use your legs as much as you can, but there's a way to do that in the middle to make sure that you're not squatting the weight up. You're gonna get really fast off the floor, but then you're gonna get stuck on your legs. And it doesn't matter how fast the barbell moves, if it gets stuck there, it's still gonna be a missed lift. Really try focusing on having a really solid hip height at the beginning of your starting position. Whenever you're setting up for your deadlift, make sure that you're hinging the hips back, keeping the body over the barbell like this, and then not squatting too low. Like you wanna make sure that you have a soft bend in your legs, but not enough where it's like, you're squatting it up. Start with a soft bend in your legs and then hinge the hips back, keep your body over the barbell, and then you're already in a pretty solid position before you even touch the barbell. From here, you wanna find a good wedge, and everyone's leverages are different, so you're gonna have a different hip height depending on how long or short your arms are, your torso is, your femurs are, all of these things. So you gotta kind of find what works for you specifically. This is the position that I feel the strongest in and where I'm not squatting my hips way too low. And I talked about how the pause deadlift is one of the best variations to kind of address the starting position and kind of work on improving your starting position. Because if you have a really crappy starting position, the pause deadlift will punish you. Especially if like your upper back is collapsed. You want to make sure that you're keeping a rigid-ish torso and you're not like too collapsed in your thoracic spine. The hip height, like I mentioned before, like all of these things that gotta work in unison for your starting position for it to be a good lift. With sumo deadlift too, you hear people say the cue like be patient. With being patient, you wanna maintain your starting position as much as you can off the floor all the way until the rep is complete. One thing too that I really recommend if you're a new powerlifter, if you're new to sumo deadlift, would be to add full resets into your deadlift training. Full resets are really good for you because it's the only lift that you can kind of really get away with doing resets. Full resets, you're gonna be able to replicate the technique that you normally would with doing like a single. I'm a really big advocate for full resets. I write them in my clients' programs all the time. I do it myself because I don't like rushing through my sets, especially when I have like top sets or back off sets like around like sets of 3 or sets of 5 or anything that's more than a single. I really like doing full resets, especially when I pull mixed grip. I wanna make sure that my grip is secure. And I'm holding the barbell the way that I want to, because if I rush my my setup, if I rush my rep, then I'm gonna lose the barbell. It's gonna slip in my fingertips. All right, so I just finished my sets. I'm gonna go over what I was talking about before with like kind of like cramming your hips way too aggressively into the bar. And like the biggest like telltale sign that you're doing this incorrectly is like whenever you try to initiate your deadlift, before it even leaves the ground, you see that your hips like kick back up, then it leaves the floor. What I'm talking about with the technique that's like kind of performed incorrectly is like when you're setting up for your wedge and you go to like kind of squat it, but like before it even leaves the ground, it pitches you forward and then it leaves the ground. And that like would probably make it a lot harder off the floor, like kind of kick the barbell away from you, which is an issue that I've struggled with in the past. So instead of doing that, like I said before, kind of have a soft bend your legs and reach hips back, get those posterior chain muscles activated. And then when you're in this position, you don't want to get the hips too low. Keep the bar close to you the entire time, and you're already in the proper hip height for your pull. So that's like kind of the moral takeaway of this video. Try to find like a proper hinge, hip height, distance from the bar, upper back positioning, because the starting position can make or break your deadlift. And see how you already get jammed to your legs? It's like, it doesn't matter how fast it gets. Like, if you rush your starting position, you squat the weight up, it's gonna fly off the floor, but then it's gonna get caught like right here because like you're already in a posterior rounded pelvis positioning. It's impossible to get your hips through all the way. If your pelvis is already like posteriorly like rounded, you're here, you cannot lock it out.
It gets really hard. You're like mechanically at such a disadvantageous position because your knees are locked out and you're just trying to finish it with your hips, but you're in a position where the bar is so close to you that you can't even push your hips through.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Your hands are gonna, like, you see this all the time where your hands get stuck on your legs and you still have to like lock out your hips and you got nowhere to go.
Technically your hips are already locked out. It's just like you can't get your shoulders back because your legs are already locked out.
Like this. You see people like this.
Yep.
And then they have to.
Which is like kind of like it's some of the worst and most unfortunate things with the deadlift too. Like the timing is everything, the starting position is everything. Like all these things need to be together in unison in order to be a complete successful rep. And it's obviously easier said than done with like 60% of my max. But like, you know, whenever you practice like this, it's going to carry over into your 1 rep max, potential attempts at new 1 rep maxes.
And nothing feels worse than popping the bar off of the floor and then getting caught at lockout.
Agreed.
You're like, you were so close. And I'm like, you were actually really far because I could tell right from your starting position that you weren't going to get it.
Exactly. Like, that's why it doesn't matter how fast it flies off the floor. You need to maintain your starting position. You need to maintain all of your cues. And if you rush it like that, then you're never gonna lock out those deadlifts. That's gonna be it for today's video. I wanted to wrap that up very quickly for you guys, kind of address this issue that I see a lot of beginner powerlifters make, especially with their sumo deadlifts. So hopefully you guys can take something out of this and then apply it to your own training if you pull sumo, and then hit some brand new PRs with it. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to my channel and to let me know that you watched all the way to the end of this video. Let me know what your first sumo deadlift PR was, first conventional deadlift PR was, versus where it's at now. And that'll let me know that you watched all the way to the end of this YouTube video. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the very end, and I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video.